Welcome to Forensic Friday, on an actual Friday, where I tell you one true crime case that was solved using forensic science, all while doing, that's right, my makeup. Today's video will be featuring the Play It Jewel palette from ColourPop. You guys, this is giving me very Christmas lights vibes, and you guys know me. If I can, I'm gonna try to do something resembling that. I'm gonna try to put Christmas bulbs on my eyelids. I know I told you I wasn't a professional now. All the other products I'm using in this video will be linked in the description below. Please read the disclaimer. I am not a professional makeup artist, nor am I a professional forensic scientist. I'm just the average girl at home like you, planning my makeup. Sometimes I do my nails and random other things while I talk about a true crime case. So if that's something you're into, then you're more than welcome to join us here and hit that subscribe button. Quick reminder, the comment section is a privilege. Don't fuck it up. Now let's get into today's case. Hi. Now this all takes place in 1990 in Richmond, Virginia, where Dawn Bruce lived. Now Dawn, she was a musician. She had studied music at the Virginia Commonwealth University. She got accepted into the university when she auditioned for the VCU Symphony, and she was selected. So she was really good. You guys know I really like to rub my primer in, y'all. I really like to rub it in. I'm just kidding. I just like rubbing my face. After Dawn graduated, she began working as a receptionist during the day, and she took a second job as a waitress at a restaurant called Tommy's Restaurant during the night. Dawn really wanted to be her own woman, so she didn't mind working the two jobs so that she was able to afford living alone. Dawn was very independent, so there wasn't much that she was afraid of. She really wanted to just get out into the world and try everything. Friends and family members would describe Dawn as very fun-loving, independent, and ready to take on the world. And she even wanted to become a firefighter. She had passed her firefighter 1 and 2s, and I think that's like some sort of certificate, or I don't know. I'm not a freaking firefighter. You guys let me know in the comments below if you know. But so she passed her firefighter 1 and 2s, and she was volunteering as a firefighter. I mean, wow, this girl, I have to say, hats off to her. So she's working 2 jobs after graduation so she could afford to live on her own while becoming a firefighter and volunteering as a firefighter in her free time at the same time. This girl was a really busy chick. This girl had a lot going for herself, to say the least. Now, others would caution Dawn that she was too, ambitious and too independent as a woman for her age at that time. Dawn didn't really give a F, okay? She didn't really care what people thought, and she went for whatever she wanted. Now that I look like something from one of those old horror movie films, we can begin the makeup process. It's not about me, it's about Dawn. So let's continue. On December 19th, which is like in a couple of days, 1990, Dawn's mother became a little bit concerned when she was unable to get in contact with Dawn. She hadn't heard from Dawn in a few days, and so she tried to call her, and Dawn wasn't answering. Now this was very unlike Dawn. Dawn would always keep in regular contact with her mother, so her mom felt like this was out of character. So after numerous failed attempts of trying to get a hold of Dawn, her mother decided to just drive over to her apartment and see what the heck was going on, which is probably exactly what my mom would do. My mom would come and find me. If I'm not answering, no matter where I'm at, who I'm with, my mama coming for me. She coming to find me. So I think I need to get the sponge because this isn't turning out very nice. This just looks like I have like peeling skin. So Dawn's mom went to her apartment, and she knocked on the door and nobody answered. I'm not quite sure how she was able to get into the apartment. I'm not sure if she had her own set of keys or how she gained access inside of the apartment. Maybe after Dawn didn't answer her, she call the police and then they opened the door. I'm not quite sure because, it really didn't say how she got into the apartment. You know why this isn't working? Because this is the wrong fucking this is the wrong concealer. I'm wondering, I'm like, why is this so difficult? Why is it so thick? Why is it so different? I definitely, okay, I don't want to start all over at this point, but I also feel like I need to, because this is making my actual skin underneath look so dry and cakey, and I really don't like it. It's like too much. I'm just gonna go off camera and reapply this. I don't want to take you guys through me putting on concealer again, and I'd rather show you the parts where I'm actually applying the eye makeup and everything, the fun stuff, the color. I'm not sure how she got inside the apartment, if she had her own set of keys or if police showed up and let her in, but they were able to get inside of the apartment, and that is when she discovered Dawn's lifeless body laying on the bed in her bedroom, completely nude. She appeared to have a stab wound to the heart. Later, the medical examiners found that she had been raped, sodomized, and stabbed in the heart. Now, based on the evidence at the crime scene, investigators believe that Dawn had been attacked in her sleep. They believe the assailant broke in, snuck up on Dawn, and stabbed her in the heart. He then held her down. As she was bleeding out, he started to assault her. I don't know what it is about this that really, and you guys know, and maybe you don't know, but I've researched a lot of cases. Before I do any of these cases, I'm always researching other cases, other stories, and, you know, watching documentaries. And so I've seen quite a bit of really effed up stuff, okay, to be honest with you. But there's just something about this one, the way that he did it, that really gets to me. The fact that he stabbed her in the heart and then had the freaking disgusting audacity to hold her down while she was bleeding out as he violated her. But this just took the cake for me. I don't know why. It's just, it feels so personal, you know? How many of you guys feel like this is the physical reenactment of something that one of your exes have done to you emotionally? I think that's what it is. During the search of her apartment, police did find a window that had been pried open that signified forced entry. So they believe this is how the assailant probably had gotten in. They began to theorize that perhaps this was some sort of burglary gone wrong, but nothing in the apartment seemed to be misplaced or disturbed. Forensic investigators took samples from everything. They dusted down for prints, and they didn't find any prints at the scene of the crime. The killer didn't leave much evidence behind for forensic investigators to collect. In fact, one of the investigators said that he had left the crime scene pretty confident that he had gotten all that they could get from the crime scene, and it wasn't much. He said that he had just one large bag of items, and it was basically the bed sheet and the pillows. Basically, it was just Dawn's bedding. Investigators questioned friends, family members, and co-workers of Dawn Bruce, and they found out that she had last been seen just 2 nights earlier at her job at the restaurant, at Tommy's Restaurant. I believe that's what it's called. Now, as a waitress, Dawn met a lot of people, so as you can imagine, this added to their list of potential suspects. Investigators also spoke with Dawn's neighbors, and several of them were very suspicious about a guy that lived next door to Dawn, another neighbor. So police did a little digging on this guy, and come to find out he had been arrested for burglary and attempted rape. And get this, the weapon he used was a knife. That's right. This dude was actually out on parole at the time and living right next door to Dawn. I mean, put 2 and 2 together, y'all. Come on. Pick his ass up. Take him directly to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Directly to jail. You don't get a chance card, nothing. I don't know about this innocent until proven guilty thing. I mean, I know that's the law, but like, some people are just guilty in general. Like, they're just guilty, and even though they're not proven guilty doesn't make them innocent, you know? I think there needs to be some other word, some sort of middle name to call it instead of just innocent, you know what I mean, until proven guilty. I think it should be like, you are blank until either proven innocent or guilty. How about that? That's a better one right there. Look at me, making laws. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys think it should be called, because it definitely shouldn't be called innocent. So at this point, police had no real suspects. They didn't have a murder weapon, and they had no witnesses. They knew at this point it was going to be a very difficult case to solve. They felt like this guy was probably their best lead at the time, although a lot of things also didn't really match or add up or were consistent with him either. Investigators did what any good investigator would do, and they went back to the scene of the crime for more clues. They focused on the evidence they retrieved from Dawn's bedroom. Medical examiners knew that the fatal blow was the stab wound to Dawn's heart. Forensic scientists discovered a linear impression on Dawn's pillowcase that was consistent with a knife print. The serrated end of the blade was consistent with a hunting knife. They also found what appeared to be a partial print on the pillowcase in Dawn's blood. However, they ran into a major problem. The texture of the pillowcase made it impossible for them to pick up any partial prints from the pillowcase for analysis. According to forensic experts, the print was very faint. In fact, it was so faint that it was almost invisible, so they had to put it under magnification. But this also enhanced the fabric weaves in the pillowcase, which would distort the print, so they were unable to get a clear print for comparison. Without that print, they really had nothing, because how are they going to even compare it to Dawn's neighbor or to her boyfriend or any of the other potential suspects if they couldn't even get that partial print? So as you can imagine, investigators were not that confident that they would be able to solve this case. Now it's time to go into the palette. But anyway, back to the story. So I'm hot. It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes. I am getting so hot, I want to take my clothes off. I have to pay attention, you guys, because this is going to be a look that gonna need some focus. I'm gonna need all of you guys' good energy just shot out towards me through the screen at this moment, because I'm going to be doing kind of a crazy look that I've never tried before. I've never even seen it done before, so I'm going to need you guys to guide me through this, okay? Because I need some help, honey. Forensic scientists did also find traces of semen at the crime scene, so they took that in for testing as well. The serology test revealed that the killer most likely had type A blood. This eliminated Dawn's neighbor that was on parole during that time, as well as Dawn's boyfriend as potential suspects, because neither of them had type A blood type. Then police discovered that Dawn had another neighbor. His name was Robert Knight. Now, Robert Knight, he had been arrested before for a drug possession, and police found out that Robert Knight had made comments to Dawn before, sexually suggestive comments, like sexual harassment is what it really was. One time, Dawn was washing her car outside, and she was going back and forth between her house and, her apartment, not her house, her apartment and her car to, wash her car. And he was just standing there watching her as she was washing her car and going back and forth and making all these sexually suggestive comments to her as she was just trying to wash her effing car, dude. Like, damn. Can we just wash our cars? Like, goodness gracious. I would have tossed his ass a sponge. I'd have been like, you can get that spot and that spot over there, since you got time to stand out here and harass me. All right, you got time to stand out here and watch me run back and forth while I'm trying to wash my, you can get to work, sir. Thank you. That's exactly what would have happened. But Dawn did not do that, and that probably wasn't the smartest thing, because probably I would have got my ass killed for doing that. So probably it wasn't the smartest. They did take samples from Robert to compare to the semen that they found at the crime scene, and they matched. Robert was a type A blood type, just like the semen found at the crime scene. So that was consistent. Chow, I don't know what I did. Ronald McDonald stuff, I don't know, girl. Don't even ask right now. When they questioned Robert, he did have an alibi. He said that he was with his girlfriend on the night in question. And they also compared his fingerprints that were on file from his past criminal record with the partial print that they had from the crime scene from that pillowcase, right? And it did not match, or it did not appear to match. As we know, they had a lot of issues with this partial print and just to get it to be seen. So the forensic scientists, they tried everything. They tried every technique they could think of. They tried to take photographs of the print and enhance it that way. They tried various light sources. They tried a bunch of different things on this fabric to, you know, enhance the print so that they can get a clear comparison. Unfortunately, they were unable to. Forensic scientists tried various different chemicals in the lab to see if they could enhance the partial print, but every time they did, they also enhanced the weave of the pillowcase, which obviously is a huge problem. But then investigators got lucky and they got a huge break in the case. Now, every year they have a conference called the Latent Print Conference. I believe that's what it's called. And this is where various different inventors come and bring all of their inventions to this sort of scientific conference. I'm just having this idea like Star Trek. I don't know why Star Trek just popped in my head. So it's a huge conference that they bring all of their new inventions to that can help or potentially help solve crimes or help forensic scientists. And this is where they found a machine that could help them. Now, this isn't just any convention, it is a training seminar, and the best of the best come and bring their printing machines, and they discuss various new printing techniques and new ideas that they have. And it just so happened that the investigators, while they were there at this conference, one of the inventors brought their machine with them, one of the people that were speaking. And this was the first time that the investigators had actually seen something like this technique used in a criminal investigation for forensic science. However, they were really curious about the new machine, the new process, and how the system worked. This was something that was totally new to them, and they were excited because, let's be honest, they really had nothing else. So anything that they could get, they were kind of like taking at this point. This new system was called image enhancement technology. Image enhancement uses a computer to identify patterns in textured things such as towels, washcloths, pillowcases, things that have been woven, and like things of different dimensions. Once the pattern was identified, it was subtracted from the image, leaving the outer rim of the print behind pretty much. After hours of testing, the print had been subtracted from the image, and what showed was the partial print of the killer. Guys, don't judge me. Don't judge me, please. At this same time, investigators interviewed Robert Knight's girlfriend to corroborate his alibi, but she told police that Robert was not with her the entire night of the murder. Investigators did have a timeline for when the murder occurred. They found that it had occurred between the hours of 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. And this was the exact time that Robert's girlfriend said that he was missing, that he was not with her. I know half of y'all want to come through that screen right now and stop me, but it's too late. I've already done it and you can't get me through the screen, girl. Ooh, you know what it reminds me of kind of right now? Fruitcake, which I hate. But it's looking rather fruitcake-ish, so it could be fruitcake too. I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm actually like, I think it's very artistic. So now that they had the ridge or the outline of that print from the pillowcase, they went back to see if they could compare Robert Knight's print to the print that they found on the pillowcase. But you guys won't believe this, the ridge of Robert Knight's fingerprints were not detailed enough. So they had to get Robert to give a second set of prints, and actually Robert volunteered to give them, you know, a second print. But again, there was still not enough ridge detail for them to get any sort of print to compare to the one they found on the pillowcase. I mean, my God, it's like, what? So police had to go back again and try to get another print from Robert, but Robert was beginning to get annoyed and frustrated with the officers, accusing them of, you know, of harassment. And I think he was probably like putting his finger down like very, very lightly so that it wasn't picking up anything, and he knew at this point they were on to him. What I don't understand is why the police didn't just take his thumb themselves and like physically do it like on the paper to make sure that he was giving a definitive enough print. So Robert became very uncooperative. He told police he did not want them to come around anymore, and he wasn't going to help them out anymore. And police thought this was strange because up until that point, he had been very cooperative. I'm gonna attempt, I think I'm gonna do some bronzer. I never do bronzer. Let me try it. Let's try it today. Why not? We have Christmas lights on our eyelids. At this point, the prosecutor started to get really nervous because they knew that if they were not able to get a definitive enough print to compare, then the defense would use it against them. They knew that the defense attorney would just deny that it was Robert Knight's fingerprint at all, that they would be like, who knows whose fingerprint it is? You can't even get a clear print. But the prosecutors were so desperate, they decided to take a chance and they arrested Robert Knight for Don Bruce's murder. And they brought him in, taking a chance that possibly that new fingerprint system would help them. Again, this was a new system, so it had been tested, or it had been tested, but it hadn't been out for very long. So it may or may not be that accurate, but they took a chance. They did not want to let a killer get away. And I have to say that I actually commend them for that. So investigators were smart this time. The next time they took him in and they took his prints, they actually did what I said they should have done, which is take his hand themselves and roll his thumb across the ink themselves to make sure that they got a definitive enough print. They made sure that they rolled it from one edge of the thumb to the other edge of the thumb. They were very, very intricate and detailed. The lead investigator on the case said as soon as he felt like he had got a good print roll, he took it directly to his office. He did not pass go. He did not collect $200. He went directly to his office and tested that print and started to compare them. But they didn't get a result right away because the investigator took his time with testing. It took him about a month to put all of the tests together and to send it through analysis. Finally, investigators got what they were looking for, and the thumbprint from the pillowcase matched the outer rim of Robert Knight's left thumb. Busted! Oh my God, I love it. I love it. The lead forensic scientist that was working on this case went above and beyond, and he tested the prints over and over. He used different techniques to analyze the prints. He just wanted to narrow it down and make sure that he had as much information about the print comparison that would prove that this was in fact Robert Knight's prints. He even hired a second forensic scientist to double check his work just to make sure that he didn't miss anything. So that is how dedicated he was to this case. And so yeah, I have to say I have to commend him as well. The prosecution was a little bit nervous because they felt like the jury or judge would not take this seriously in court because they were getting these tests done by a machine that wasn't even on the market yet. It wasn't even proven, accurate yet. So they ended up having another hearing just to see if the machine should even be, presented or taken seriously in court, if it was admissible or not. They needed to know how accurate the machine was before they took its findings seriously. The defense thought that this was a whole gimmick. They just was like, this is ridiculous. This machine is a gimmick. It hasn't even been tested. It's not even on the market. They were looking at the judge like, you're seriously not going to allow this in court. So the woman that was one of the main inventors of the machine, well, I don't know if she's the main inventor, but she ran the machine and she knew all about the machine. She told them that while humans can decipher between 16 and 23 shades of gray, computers can decipher up to 257 different shades of gray. Wow. That's mind-blowing to me. I did not know that. I always thought humans could see better than machines. I don't know why. I just always thought that if anything, we would be able to see more because we're human. The defense argued that the machine took the fingerprints and was able to change the prints to fit whatever prints that the investigators had. She also argued that the machine only eliminated fabric patterns and then enhanced and made the outline of the print darker. It made the dark areas of the fingerprint darker and the lighter areas of the fingerprint lighter so that it would just be a very clear, precise, crisp image of a print. She told them that it in no way changed the fingerprint or distorted anything or manipulated the print. She also told them that she could show it to them right then and there in stages. And over the course of the next couple of days in the hearing, she would come in and show them in the individual stages of how she did things, how she first took out the weave, she took out the pattern, she took out everything and eliminated all of these different things that was distorting the print until it got down to just the fingerprint. And so it was a pretty precise technique. Nothing in the print was manipulated or moved. The same lines and grooves that were there was solid. This was proof that the machine actually worked. The judge was convinced, and this was the first time that this fingerprint enhancement machine was allowed in court. And there was papers writing about it. It was on the news. Judge accepts new evidence in a criminal trial from a brand new machine that hasn't even been released. It was a huge thing. Robert Knight was charged with capital murder of Dawn Bruce. But this wasn't enough for prosecutors. They really wanted to get a lot more evidence than just that fingerprint to take to trial. Although they did charge Robert Knight with Dawn's murder, they did not have a murder weapon yet, and the prosecution really wanted the murder weapon. They did not want to go to trial with just a fingerprint impression. They needed something additional, and it wasn't too much longer after that when they were able to get a lead on the murder weapon, which is like, oh, thank God. 6 months after the murder, a maintenance guy came forward with some new information. It just so happens that a maintenance man that was working in Robert's old apartment at the apartment complex that Dawn lived at was in his apartment doing some work, and he pulled back one of the panels. Something led him, whatever work he had to do, led him to pull back one of the panels in Robert's old bedroom. And what do you know? He finds a hunting knife wrapped in a sheet. Bingo! We got him now, baby. We got him now. I just love when they get caught. Like it's my favorite part of the story, guys. They were not done working just yet. They had to send the knife over to a forensics lab for testing to see if this was the same knife that killed Dawn. Using something called photographic overlays, they found that the pattern of the knife serrates, or the serrated part of the blade, matched the pattern that they found on the pillowcases. Even with the overwhelming amount of evidence that they already had, forensic scientists did not stop there. They tested the DNA from the semen they found at the crime scene to Robert Knight's DNA. And of course, it matched the DNA profile of Robert Donald Knight. Detective Inspector Lucy has finally joined us at the end of this case. She just wanted to make sure I was wrapping things up appropriately. Thanks to forensic science and some good police work to avoid the death penalty, Robert Knight pled guilty to capital murder. He is currently serving 4 life terms in prison. What did you guys think about this case and my makeup look? I know it's a little bit out there, but I'm kind of in the Christmas spirit. Please let me know in the comments down below. Lucy, stop chewing that. Sorry about that, guys. She's chewing cords over here. Stop, baby. If you like videos like these, don't forget to check out my last episode. I'll leave a link right here or right here. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Please share because it really helps me out. And I'll see you guys next week with another Forensic Friday, Saturday, or Sunday episode. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from me and Lucy to you. Bye.